Ja, und wo hat er den stecken?
Yes, I must be prepared to meet the demoiselle's baking needs whenever the fancy strikes her.
Was? Okay.
I have eggs, sugar, and almonds at the ready.
Good work, you two. Then I'll get to it. Please sit tight for a moment. You'll get to taste my awesome snack soon enough.
What the fuck, Alter? Der eine Typ hat einen riesigen fetten Ofen dabei und der eine alle Zutaten dafür. Ich meine, stellt euch mal vor, ihr seid am Bahnhof oder so, wartet auf euren Zug, plötzlich packt euch nebenher euch einen Ofen aus und fängt an, irgendwelche Snacks zu backen.
These three are quite the interesting group.
Wahrscheinlich etwas, das die Mitglieder der Spina die Rosula teilen. Navi geht methodisch mit den Zutaten um, nicht lange danach holt sie frische Macarons aus dem Ofen.
And Paimon thought it smelled good while it was still in the oven. Oh, it's even better now. Paimon can't stop drooling.
Na, Alter, die Tasse ist größer wie Paimon.
From the way you had these two guys carrying all that stuff around, Paimon thought you'd have them do more during the baking process. But you ended up doing the entire thing by yourself. Beating the egg whites, grinding almonds, everything.
I was applauding.
And I was giving encouraging smiles.
Das hat Paimon nicht gemeint, aber na gut.
Paimon was just thinking. Aren't you worried about getting your fancy dress dirty beating egg whites and baking like this? Well, I don't think it's carved in stone anywhere that fancy ladies can only read books, sip tea, ride horses, and play the piano. I just really enjoy making snacks. Don't underestimate beating egg whites, by the way. It's a real arm workout. You also need to beat them to just the right consistency, or your macarons will crack. Anyway, give these a try, fresh out of the oven. There's 3 for each of us. Only 3? Well, eating too many sweet treats might send all that sugar to your head. You wouldn't be able to think clearly about the case on a sugar rush, would you?
Tea is ready to be served as well. This is Demoiselle's favorite, strong black tea with a floral fragrance that clears the mind and lifts the spirit.
Danke.
No need for concern. I'm merely doing as I should.
Wie sitzen diese fetten Mega-Macarons mampfen, Alter.
All right then. Down to business. As Paimon mentioned previously, the tunnel seems to be something of a secret chamber. However, we can assume that Linny and Lynette were not alone within it. Some criminal also occupied its sealed confines. The magician twins could have committed the crimes, of course, but they lack any logical motive. Exactly! Why would they do such a thing right when everyone was watching?
Also außer Lynn und Lynette wäre da noch 2 weitere Personen, das vermisste Mädchen und der Verstorbene.
The flower vase and the thud we heard during the performance could indicate some altercation between Halsey and the criminal in the tunnel, resulting in the shattering of the vase, the discarding of her clothes, and her abduction. Perhaps the criminal thought that since she was chosen from the crowd, she would be too easy to identify if she was still wearing the same clothes. Paimon thinks that makes sense, but the real trouble is...
Es gibt keinen dritten.
True. None of the clues we found thus far support the existence of this third person.
Ich kann der Story gerade nicht folgen, warum futtern die jetzt was? Wollen die nie einen Mordfall lösen? Ja, aber die dürfen ja nicht raus, weil die sonst irgendeinen Scheiß anstellen könnten, um den Fall zu beeinflussen. Also hat ein Typ einen Ofen dabei und einen anderen Haufen Zeug zum Backen.
But the only people left to consider are both technically victims. Whether it's the missing girl, Halsey, or poor Cowell. Huh. Could Halsey have secretly made modifications to the magic props in order to murder Cowell before making her escape?
Ja, sie wusste nichts davon, wie der Zaubertrick funktioniert.
That's right. And even if she had tampered with the setup, she would need to understand the entire trick to pull it off. Nor does she have any motive. The guard said that she has never had any dealings with the Magic Troop's members. Were we not thorough enough in our search? From the sound of things, this is turning into an impossible case. Your macarons are amazing though, Navia. They smell great! They're nice and crisp and super sweet! They are my specialty after all. And I see you've already had 5 of them. What? 5? Oh, that can't be right. Paimon only counted 3. Honest.
Die 3 hier und 2 da noch.
Please don't worry about it. At my age, a few less sweets might actually be a good thing.
No. Being greedy is one thing, but Paimon knows how to count. Besides, Paimon knows that if she ate too many, then others wouldn't have enough.
Ja, wenn Mafiosis Backzutaten dabei haben, würde ich mir Gedanken machen. Ja, Mehl, ne? Weißes Pulver. Mehl. So. Weiter geht's. Es ist in Ordnung, auch wenn du 5 gegessen hast, ist es nicht so schlimm.
Wait, even you don't believe Paimon? How could you? If Paimon ate those 2 extra macarons, then may they turn into stone in her stomach.
All right, we get it. Well, I suppose one of us might have gotten too engrossed in our chat and eaten them by mistake. No big deal. Lelouch, set up the stove again, if you would.
Huh? What are you doing?
Wie viel Backzutaten habt ihr dabei?
Making sure everyone gets 3 macarons, of course.
Ist doch nicht nötig.
Exactly. We don't want to trouble you.
As you wish, demoiselle.
And I have the egg, sugar, and almonds.
Ja, aber wo? Wo hast du das alles?
Well, this really is your hobby, huh?
Pack mal halt einfach nochmal. Die folgende Diskussion macht ja keine großen Fortschritte.
Well, that's it for snack time. I'm going to have another look around the area. I don't know what we're looking for yet, but we've still got some time. As attorneys, I suggest the 2 of you think the case over again. It would be awkward if you got all tongue-tied on stage during the trial.
Ach wenn, dann vermöbeln wir einfach wieder alles, so wie alles immer endet.
Alright, thanks for your help and for the snacks.
It was nothing. A small task for the Spina di Rosula. Silver, Malus, it's time to go. I'll be back if I find anything new.
Mögliche Beteiligung eines Drittes. Jetzt hätte ich gedacht, hätte wäre lustig gefunden, wenn jetzt noch...
Alright, it's time to put our heads together. We've got to get our defense ready for the trial. Oh, it's probably gonna be a long and difficult case. There's no point in worrying about that now. We just need to prepare.
Wo waren die Dinger eigentlich, Guck?
Take Paimon's notes. They should help you review the situation.
Wo waren die Furine eigentlich, Guck? Die haben doch auf die Bühne geschaut, oder? Sitzt sie da oben? Oh ja, da geht's nochmal hinauf. Ich kann doch nicht hochklettern, was soll denn der Scheiß? Ah, da oben gibt's nochmal was. Also, siehst du da überhaupt was von der Bühne? Das macht doch gar keinen Sinn. Ich muss schon mal hin. Also ich meine, da wär's da oben geiler, also. Du brichst dir doch das Knack, Alter, da runter zu schauen. Musst du ja immer so schauen. Ich meine, der perfekte Ding, um was zu schauen, ist so. Vielleicht ein Arkon, die haben besondere Genicke. Achso, ja, wir müssen ja warten jetzt. Eigenschaft, Dinge. Welche der Wunder? Detektiv in Einsatz. Ich peile mal immer noch hier Ding auf hat, ey. Aber wo ist das mit den Kringeln hin? Das fand ich noch geiler. Zeit. Bis was war's? Bis 8, glaube ich, ne? Machen wir bis 7:30 Uhr. Ich finde es immer noch cool, wie die das gemacht haben. Ich bin gespannt, was die Furina für Zeug hat. LED-Schaukel. Alter, wie lange denn noch? Gleich. Aber warum wird nichts angezeigt eigentlich? 8 bis 10 Uhr, Ziel verfolgen. Da warten wir jetzt gar. Jetzt.
What do we do? The whole situation is so confusing.
Ich habe ein paar Gedanken.
Good plan. Impossible things don't just happen. We'll get to the truth one way or another.
Just relax. Even if everyone else suspects Lenny and Lynette, at least we will be supporting them from the stands. Besides, I doubt Farina understands any more about what happened than we do.
Thanks, Navia. Well, we'll be going then.
Best of luck to you.
Ah, finally, you're back. Well, how did your investigation go?
To be honest, you might be disappointed.
No. We're already very grateful that you were willing to help.
Well now, don't you all look disappointed? Don't tell me that your investigation came up empty-handed. That was to be expected, of course. The guilty can never produce proof of their innocence. But don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most anticipated foe, concede so easily.
Warte nur, bald wirst du es verstehen.
Since both parties are present, I declare that the trial regarding the magic show incident is now in session. Firstly, in order for the audience to understand the causes and results of the incident, could we please have Mr. Linney explain the trick?
Yes, of course. I will explain while Lynette demonstrates on stage. All the necessary items have been prepared.
Lynette enthüllt prägnant und in aller Deutlichkeit die Tricks des Zaubers. Alle Anwesenden sind fassungslos vor Staunen.
In that case, I take your statement to be that you ran to and remained hidden within the magic box in the audience stands once the trick began, and thus could not have committed the crime. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
In that case, I call upon the prosecution. Lady Farina, do you wish to refute his statement in any way?
Wahrscheinlich ist sie immer noch baff, wie der Trick funktioniert.
Why, of course
Oh, doch
I
nicht.
do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Linney is clearly lying. There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact, I'd say you were hardly in that tunnel at all.
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask, what did you hear while you were inside your box?
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing that might leave an impression of any kind?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One so loud that I believe practically everyone heard it.
Huh?
Hey, hang on. Something's not right here.
Wie konnte Linné den Knall nicht gehört haben?
Yeah, I'm sure he could have heard a noise that loud from inside the box.
I was right by the box and I definitely heard the thud.
Look at those scales. Could those mean...
Sie repräsentiert vermutlich die Haltung der Oratrice.
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the words of the magician himself. You never know what can happen in the blink of an eye. Indeed, it seems his alibi can also collapse in the blink of an eye. Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock solid. Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth?
Die beiden sind Fatui? Was?
No wonder they did something like this.
So the serial disappearances were the Fatui's doing. Now it all makes sense.
I've got a feeling that what happened on stage probably wasn't just an accident.
That's irrelevant. Our identities have nothing to do with what happened.
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that 1 minute. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept secret now. Unless your script already has holes in it. The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting and discord, I suppose. This was almost too easy.
Alter, wie die Sakura aus Naruto, Alter, immer nebendran so Ding hat.
Good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night is really paying off.
Hey, Linny, why didn't you tell us this before?
Linny und Lynette sind Fatui?
Order! Order! Mr. Linney, allow me to re-establish the facts. Lady Farina has raised 2 points. First, when the thud was heard in the Opera House, you were neither in the box nor the tunnel. Second, you and Ms. Lynette are both members of the House of the Hearth. Are these claims true?
Ein Zauberer ist auf jeden Fall in der Lage, jeden anderen hinters Licht zu führen. Angesichts der Art und Weise, wie Linné seine Identität verborgen hat, könnte dies alles im Voraus arrangiert worden sein. Außerdem ist der Graf zusammen mit anderen Mitarbeitern des Hauses des Kamins hier in Fontaine. Sie müssen irgendwas geplant haben. Ich wurde schon früher von der Fatui getäuscht und jetzt?
Please answer my question, Mr. Linney.
I'm sorry. Yes, they're true, Your Honor.
I knew it!
Well, that's it. We might as well move on to the sentencing already.
Weil er das Geräusch nicht gehört hat und auch von den Fatui ist alles klar, er war's.
What should we do now?
Herr Richter, darf ich etwas sagen?
Granted.
Mein Mandant hat einige wichtige Informationen zurückgehalten.
In that case, what is your request?
Ich bitte um eine kurze Vertagung. Es gibt Dinge, die wir besprechen müssen.
Is that really necessary? They're already as good as guilty.
The defendant deceived their own attorneys. What is there left to discuss?
Order! Order, I say! Your request is reasonable, and we shall adjourn. This trial will reconvene in 1 hour.
Vertagen hört sich, wenn jetzt bloß eine Stunde ist, eigentlich voll scheiße an.
So you would stick to Mr. Linney's defense even after knowing what you do now? You certainly have more professionalism than I thought.
Linney ist das so böse zu sein. Naja, wenn man danach geht, ey, dann...
In that case, my dear audience, let's allow the joy of victory to steep for a little while longer.
Wow, von den Fatui. Während die Verhandlung vertagt wird, trefft ihr euch mit Linné und Lynette des Opernhauses.
Well, this is awkward. I didn't think the Hydro Archon would dig all that up. I'm sorry, Traveler and Paimon.
Yeah, sorry.
Paimon doesn't know where to start. We trusted you two. We based our entire reasoning on the assumption that you weren't bad guys. Not to set the wrong tone or anything, but Paimon's really mad.
I'm very sorry. I know you're angry, and reasonably so, but please, let me explain. I know you've clashed with the Fatui several times before. I wouldn't be surprised if just hearing the word is enough to make you upset. But our organization is very, very large, and the Harbingers have very different personalities and goals.
Right now, we want to save people. As many as we can.
That's right. I'm sure we're on the same page when it comes to this nation and the disaster that its people might face. I knew if it weren't for our respective identities, we could become good friends. That's why I didn't wish to flat out lie to you, but chose to hide some details instead. The truth is very important, but being completely transparent about everything would see us spending more effort than we need to.
Das sagt uns, dass dies nicht nur eine weitere Lüge ist.
Right. So, you be the judge. Heck, if I were you, I fear that I'd even struggle to trust me at this point. You met a Fatus who works as a magician, a trickster by trade. All by coincidence, too. But still, I'm asking you to trust me. I am no criminal. At least, not in this case.
Sorry. Please forgive us.
Well, you both say that, but...
Wo warst du, als der Zauber vorgeführt wurde?
Right. Let's hear your answer first, and no lies now.
Of course. I'll answer any question you ask. We've been trying to find out how the Oratrice operates. We want to know why it has a consciousness. Why can it deliver sentences accurately? During our investigations, we learned that the machine's core is beneath it. From that moment on, Lynette and I have been designing this box swap trick, with the objective of getting close to the core.
Is that why you needed a whole minute?
That's right. In truth, the audience would take about 75 seconds to count down from 60, while I would only need 15 to get to the opposite box. So, after jumping into the tunnel, I accessed the Opera House basement via the vent, and went to investigate the room in which the core is stored.
That air vent was created during the construction of the tunnel specifically to execute this step.
Und was hast du herausgefunden?
Well, nothing. As soon as I reached that room and was about to investigate, I heard someone's voice. Which should have been impossible, of course. I was quite certain that I was the only one in the room.
Die Stimme.
That voice seemed to recognize me and tried to speak to me. I chose to err on the side of caution and retreated the way I came. On the way back, I saw the broken vase and the clothes on the ground, but the countdown was almost finished, so there wasn't time to give it any thought. After that, the homicide occurred just as you saw.
Well, that explains why you didn't hear the thud.
Warum wollt ihr herausfinden, wie der Oratrice funktioniert?
Because of that prophecy I told you about, of course. We must know all we can about this nation's secrets in order to deal with that prophesized crisis.
That's the only way we can save everyone.
So, there you have it. The whole truth. I swear, I didn't hide anything from you this time. It was never my wish to proceed under this cloud of mistrust either. But, like I said earlier, you can be the judge. If you want to leave because you don't trust the Fatui, there's nothing I can do to stop you.
Well, Traveler, you decide. Paimon will follow your lead however you choose.
Ich glaube an Fakten. Wenn du nicht der Täter bist, werde ich dich weiterhin verteidigen. Wenn du das Verbrechen begangen hast, wird dich eine Verurteilung erwarten.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for giving us a chance.
The current problem is that the scales are tipped pretty badly against you two. If we want to refute the Hydro Archon's accusations, we're gonna need a seriously watertight defense.
Tatsächlich haben wir bereits den entscheidenden Beweis in unseren Händen.
Huh?
Die Vertagung ist fast vorbei, lass uns zurückgehen.
Oh, Paimon thinks she gets what you mean.
Linnaeus Aussage. Stimme in der Oratrice Kernkammer.
Bro.
Wo zur Hölle sind wir? Ich will die Kiste aufmachen. Achso, das ist der Seitengang, wo wir wahrscheinlich vorher nicht rein durften. Die Tagung ist vorbei und der spannende Prozess wird wieder aufgenommen.
Both parties have returned to their positions. Let us continue the trial.
Ich finde das Ding cool, dass das immer wieder in der Mitte geteilt ist, um beide Seiten zu zeigen.
When last we left off, Mr. Linney acknowledged the new evidence presented by Lady Farina as fact. Therefore, Lady Farina may continue stating her reconstruction of the events.
That took long enough. Now then, if everyone would lend me their attention. At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Linney's perspective.
Was? Ermittle anhand der Schilderung der Ereignisse der Gegenseite, welche Aspekte jeder Aussage nicht stichhaltig sind. Anhand der Beweise und der Hinweise, die im Laufe der Untersuchung des Falls gewonnen wurden, können die unhaltbaren Aspekte des Falls widerlegt und durch neue Schlussfolgerungen ersetzt werden. Wenn du das Publikum mit einem Gegenargument überzeugst, kann das zu mehr Unterstützung für den eigenen Standpunkt führen. Die Oratrix wird diese Veränderung deutlich machen. Alle unhaltbaren Aspekte identifiziert und widerlegt sind, wird der Widerlegungskreis geschlossen und die Wahrheit offenbart.
As the countdown began, he entered the tunnel. When the flatbed trolley passed, he opened the box and got into an altercation with Halsey, which caused the loud thud. He did not realize that this sound could be heard by everyone in the opera house, which is why he claimed earlier that he could not hear the sound.
Die Bilder sind cool.
Finally, he used the vase to knock her out, before making her change clothes to prevent others from recognizing her. At this time, Cowell arrived in the tunnel, having heard that strange noise, and caught Linny red-handed. So Linny proceeded to knock him out too before stuffing him into that box. Afterward, Linny passed the unconscious Halsey to his accomplice through the magic box in the audience stands, before operating the devices such that Cowell's death would be ruled an accident. And there you have it. That's the truth behind what happened.
Does the defendant's side have any objections to Lady Farina's description of the events?
The key to refuting Lady Farina is the order of events, what Linny experienced, and what he saw.
Hanne von Linne im Tunnel. Dein Tunnel als der Counter begann. Ah, okay, wir haben noch ein paar. Nachdem Linne den Tunnel betreten hatte, gelang er durch die Lüftung öffnen den Raum, in der Autoritäts Kern aufbewahrt wurde. Das ist eine Tunnelvorfall.
According to Linny, he left via the vent after entering the tunnel. He couldn't have had that altercation with Halsey.
Linne den Tunnel betreten hat, gelang er durch die Lüftung. Nee, er hatte den Tunnel betreten. Halsey entführt.
Linny went to the room that contains the Oratrice's core. This is the actual truth.
Seltsames Geräusch.
Seems this...
Ah, okay.
Linny did not take part in the underground altercation. He only witnessed traces
Ah,
of
so
the
ist es gedacht.
aftermath.
Attention! Ace Detective Paimon has something to say! When the countdown started, Linny did indeed go into the tunnel. But he immediately used a vent to access the Opera House basement, which is where the underground core of the Oratrice is stored. Once he reached that area, he heard a voice in what should have been an empty room. Since he felt something was amiss, he returned immediately. The crime scene had already developed by the time he reached the tunnel again, and in order to complete the magic trick, he did not remain there for any length of time. Finally, he reached the surface, and that was when the accident happened from his point of view. Therefore, he's innocent!
Erfolgreich widerlegt. Okay. Guten Abend, guten Tag, Mel.
Paimon did it! Paimon actually managed to say all that!
Paimon hat ihre scheiß Brille wieder. Also, es schaut halt doch besser aus mit den roten Bäckchen.
In other words, you believe that he knew nothing of the incident?
That's right!
Außerdem halte ich die Argumentation der Klägerin für fehlerhaft.
My reasoning?
Auf der Bühne wurden absichtlich von jemandem manipuliert.
If that's the case, then if Cowell hadn't entered the tunnel, who was the entire say is true, Linny only needed to kidnap the young girl to cause a new disappearance case. What would the point of killing someone on stage be?
Ja, das ist es eben. Warum eine Falle vorbereiten, wenn du eigentlich nur vorhast, das Mädchen zu entführen?
Oh, they have a point.
That's right, you tell him! And that's why they're partners of mine. They've managed to turn things around.
Oh, well, your denial is very strident, I'll give you that. But what proof do you have to back your claim?
Die schwarzen Dinger extra damit so. Erinnerst du dich noch daran, wie du Linnes Alibi widerlegt hast?
Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, how could he have not heard that sound? Why do you ask? You're saying that he wasn't?
Deine Aussage ist jetzt zu meiner Waffe geworden. Deine Aussage ist nur zum entscheidenden Hinweis geworden. Was ist jetzt los? Belegt, dass Linne zum Zeitpunkt nicht im Tunnel war. Alter, scheiße, wir haben zu viel Zeug, Mann. Tunnel. Ah, okay, die Sachen kann ich wählen. Das vermisste Mädchen, seltsames Geräusch während der Zauberschau.
That's right! Linny wasn't in the box or in the tunnel. That's why he didn't hear anything strange during the performance. This means that when the crime happened, Linny had already entered the basement via the vent. The same clue you used to disprove his alibi has now become the best proof! How do you like that?
Well played.
Einmal eine Aufnahme.
To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Linny who committed the crimes, then who was it?
Der Täter war... Auf dem Bildschirm, um die entsprechende Fallabfrage zu zeigen. Jeweiligen Antworten und fülle alle freien Felder aus, um die Richtigkeit einer Schlussfolgerung zu überprüfen. Im Falle eines Fehlers musst du erneut aus den verbleibenden Möglichkeiten wählen. Wenn Fragen richtig beantwortet wurden, ist die Beweiskette abgeschlossen. Was? Die Ermittlungen der Gendarmerie zufolge entzündete die vor dem Ende der Zauberschau gezündeten Feuerwerkskörper das Seil, an dem der Wassertank befestigt war, der runterfiel zu Crowleys Tod führte. Linne von jeglichem Verdacht freigesprochen wurde, wäre dann noch die restlichen Mitglieder der Zaubertruppe, die sich an den Zauberrequisiten hätten zu schaffen machen können. Es gibt ja nur noch den einen Typen, ne? Das waren 2 Helfer. Ausschließlich wie der Zaubertrick funktionieren sollte, mithilfe des doppelten beschichteten Schranks sollte das ausgewählte Mädchen aus dem Publikum, im Schrank befand, durch einen Tunnel auf die andere Seite transportiert werden. Linne selbst sollte diesen Tunnel ebenfalls nutzen, um auf die andere Seite zu gelangen. Währenddessen übernahm Lynette nach der Kostümwechsel und der Assistenten gemeinsam mit ihnen die Aktion auf der Bühne. Der macht ja alles alleine. Die Kleider aus der vermissten Häuser wurde aus dem unbekannten Grund im Tunnel zurückgelassen.
The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant. He would have been able to tamper with the equipment. Could there have been a third person involved? Is that really a possibility? Halsey is the missing person and an ordinary audience member. Or did she have her own scheme all along? Could there have been a third...
Echt? Also doch sie selber? Also doch er, aber ich dachte, weil er fragt ist. Das wär's doch er gewesen, aber ich habe gedacht, weil er tot ist, einfach nicht.
That can't be right. Are you serious? The killer was, in fact, Cowell, the deceased!
Oh, is that so? How interesting! Let's hear your reasoning then.
What I must do next is recreate the truth. What Cowell did, and how he went from would-be perpetrator to victim.
Alter, ihr macht mich fertig.
No one entered or left the Opera House through its entrances.
Ich könnte mir vorher wissen, dass Linny keine Möglichkeit hat, das Verbrechen zu verhindern.
Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which
Spur wer?
the sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal. It would have been tough for both people to fit into that vent. They would likely have bumped into Linny as well. The deceased's name is Cowell, Linny's assistant.
Die zwei sind falsch, okay.
No one entered or left the opera.
Ja, das da dann.
Clothing was in the tunnel, so there must have been.
Hä, wo ist jetzt der Typ
No
hin?
one entered or left. It would have been tough for both.
Immer noch falsch.
The deceased's name is No one entered or
Hä?
No one entered or left the opera.
Ach so, das bleibt dann noch
The
übrig.
deceased's name is Halsey's clothing was in the
Okay, dann ist bloß noch eins übrig.
No one entered or
Hä? Der Täter muss die Methode in der Linnes Zauber gut gekannt haben und in der Lage gewesen sein, Modifikationen an den Requisiten vorzunehmen. Mir Stab verfügte Cowell über alle Mittel, die er braucht, um das Verbrechen zu begehen. Die Knall könne wahrscheinlich vom Kampf zwischen Cowell und Halsey rühren. Linne war nicht einmal eine Minute lang im Tunnel, diese eine Minute hätte Cowell gereicht, um Halsey aus dem Zauberschrank Zuschauerseite zu holen. Aussage des Gendarms zufolge betrat oder verließ inzwischen niemand das Opernhaus, daher war es unmöglich für ihn, das Gelände zu verlassen. Davon, dass die Zuschauer ihn auf jeden Fall gesehen hätten, wenn er aus dem Zauberschrank gekommen wäre.
What's wrong, Traveler? Are you still having trouble figuring things out?
Wo um Himmels Willen ist denn Halsey hin?
I see how it is. So this was all just a bluff. And here I thought you had something to show for it. But it seems you're still far from the truth.
Look, since we're at a dead end, why not consider a different track? Just like the trick as it transpired, the end result must have been utterly different from the magician's initial design.
If only we knew how Halsey disappeared.
Well, that would be nice, but the tunnel only has 3 exits, and none of them seem very likely. And it's not like this is a magic trick where you can just make a real live person disappear. You know, like you did from that water tank, Lynette.
Zauberei aus dem Wassertank verschwinden. Soll das Wasser gewesen sein?
Excuse my interruption, dear opponents. But do you not see that the crowd is growing impatient? There is no greater sin in this opera house than an awkward delay in the performance.
Das Wasser, was zerstört ist, deswegen ist ihre Kleidung dort. Aber warum war dann Cowell in dem Ding?
If the defense is unable to make further effective arguments, we will move on to the next stage of the trial.
Wartet.
Linny was not in the tunnel at that moment, which the sound we heard may have come from a clash between the missing Halsey and the criminal.